Heroes of Brunello de Montalcino allow us to interview, to get to know some of the great producers in the region of Montalcino, the area of Montalcino instead of Tuscany. And we couldn't be more honored than to get started with Casanova de Neri. And Gianlorenzo Neri is on the Zoom with us. He is a family member and in charge of the business at Casanova de Neri. Gianlorenzo, pleasure to be able to Zoom with you. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you, Ian, for organizing this very entertaining lecture of Montalcino. I like a lot the title Heroes of Montalcino.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I have had the great pleasure of visiting you and your father, your establishment there in Montalcino. Casanova de Neri is highly decorated. We carry a number of different wines from your family. But honestly, this last year, I decided to offer the Il Rosso, and it has been a smashing success. It's a great wine at a great price, and we'd love to learn a little bit more about your history, and then we'll talk about the wine.
Yes. So, Ian, I guess when you mentioned the name Casanova di Neri, everyone is thinking about our Brunellos. And that's right, because over our 53 years of history, we've been looking at the very best terroirs in Montalcino in terms of soils, exposure, microclimates, and that is why over 3 generations, over 53 years of history, we now have 7 different spots in Montalcino, and the reason why we are producing 4 different Brunellos, because we talk about 100% Sangiovese, Montalcino, Casanova di Neri, but 4 completely different expression of Brunello, because each of them is planted in a very, very different terroir. So we have, for example, the property called Fiesole in the northeast of Montalcino. That was the beginning of the Casanova farmhouse that our grandfather bought in 1971. So it was the beginning with the production of the Brunello, today called the White Label, 1978, first vintage. And then just a few years later, the second Brunello came with the name of Ceretalto. Ceretalto is the toponym of this beautiful natural amphitheater, as you see at the very border of the appellation area, with a very particular microclimate, with a type of soil that in all Montalcino you can only find in Ceretalto. So it's really, really a unique spot. Then the third Brunello came with the arrival of our father at the winery 35 years ago, especially when, unfortunately, our grandfather passed away in 1991. His idea was to produce another different, but also great expression of Più Sangiovese from Casanova di Neri, and started this project of vineyard from the scratch. He bought the property called Cetine, as you see in the south area of Montalcino, from a shepherd. So there was nothing on this land. Planted the vines from scratch, from zero, at the end of the 80s, and showing this new idea of Brunello of Casanova di Neri that was in fact called Tenuta Nuova. You know, Tenuta Nuova in Italian means new land, new estate, but also a new vineyard project of Sangiovese, also of Casanova di Neri. Today, after more than 30 years, this Brunello is a traditional wine from the estate, but also overall of the appellation. Is one of the benchmark for the appellation, and not only. And only last year, we released the 4th Brunello with the 2018 vintage. This Brunello has been dedicated to our grandfather. So you see the name Giovanni Neri. We talk about a 50 years old vineyard in the southeast of Montalcino that we purchased a few years ago. right in 2018. Great vines over half a century of age. Again, a great microclimate, great exposure. When we purchased this property, we were celebrating the 50th anniversary of the winery, and that's why the grandfather dedication. So we produce incredible Brunello, also a nice production of small production of Rosso di Montalcino from there. So we really today we have you know we never had a very precise marketing if not by having one of the best vineyards of Montalcino. It's truly the way our Brunellos are showing is because they truly come from unique pieces of lands. And then, of course, our knowledge, our winemaking is still important, but it counts for 30%. 70% is really the quality of the Sangiovese we are having from unique spots from Montalcino.
Well, your facility is remarkable to visit, and you see the state-of-the-art investment that you guys have made in the quality of the production facility. It's a beautiful location. I think you also have now a place where guests can stay as well, a little agroturismo maybe. And
Is
so
a little boutique hotel 500 meters from the cellar. So if people want to really have 100% the Casanova di Neri experience, you can also sleep, eat, and drink as much as you want, I guess.
that sounds great. Sounds great. Well, amazing history. Grandfather obviously left a great legacy, and your family has not only risen to the occasion, but potentially you could argue your brand is at the top, at the forefront of the wines being made in the appellation. The popularity, the scores, and the quality year after year has been really tremendous. And congratulations to you all. A couple pictures to kind of get you in there. What are we looking at there?
This is the Casanova farmhouse, so the property called Fiesole. That's where we have our tasting room, the hospitality, and 100 meters away we have the cellar, which is underground and gravity flow. So from the outside, it's not you cannot see very easily, but that's because we want it because it's really well integrated on the environment and. It is a sustainable cellar because the use we try to minimize the use of pumps because we are going gravity flow, and most of the places inside the cellar are naturally cooled, so there's a little use of energy. So we've been sustainable. Sustainability for us has always been a guiding principle since forever. You know, now sustainability is trendy, but we were sustainable already many years ago when only a few people were looking at this thing, you know, this philosophy.
The wine that we're trying today is the 2021, and this is a blend of various varieties, both traditional and modern, to Italy. A little Cabernet, a little Petit Verdot. I think the blend can change too, right? You guys change it
Yes,
around a little bit?
the blend it depends also on the yields that you know very well can vary year by year, but that's basically the average percentage. The 85% Sangiovese comes from our younger vineyards between 10 and 20 years old vines, and then the Cabernet Sauvignon and Petit Verdot comes from one of the vineyards we have in the southeast named Pietradonice. The 2021 in quality was a very great vintage. Unfortunately, not for yields because in April we had one of the most challenging late frost. So we basically lost on average 35% of the production. But I think the wine The Rosso 21 is, I think, a preview of how the Brunellos will show up in a couple of years. And basically our father idea when he started producing this wine back in 2006 with the idea to show the quality, commitment, the philosophy and the style of Casanova di Neri, also to have a wine that for a very attractive price, a wine that you can enjoy immediately, but at the same time, if you keep by mistake for a few years in the cellar, it won't disappoint. So still able to age for a surprising number of years. Of course, not as long as the Brunellos, but is also a wine that can surprisingly age because it's still from the Sangiovese, from the great vineyards. Soften the Sangiovese in this case is softened a little bit by the Cabernet Sauvignon and Petit Verdot. So you have a wine with very roundness, with very pleasant, smooth tannins, but also with a great and lively acidity. The Rosso is a wine that we age for 12 months in the big Slavonian oak, and then for a few months before the bottle aging. And I think that's usually the starting point of Casanova di Neri, because it's the most let's say easy drinking, the most approachable wine, but you can already understand the quality of the winery. So I guess you'll be quite surprised because you have is a wine that shares the same family feeling of the others, and at the same time for let's say also an entry level price. So if you are interested, you start with the Rosso and then you move on with our Brunellos.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We're going to taste this delicious 2001 with our audience now. And I can't thank you enough for coming on and meeting with me and teaching us about the brand. And I look forward to seeing you in Italy. Take care. Thank you so much. Great job.